This is the Coming Home Podcast with John Allen. Go.
Okay.
30 seconds in. 3, 2, 1. And welcome everybody to this episode of Coming Home with John Allen. I am your humble host. I'm even more humble today because Miss Thing is sitting over here and she kind of keeps me down.
There.
Say hello to Snoopy, everybody.
Hello.
Before we get started, I want to remind everybody that if you are watching this on YouTube, which I hope you are, that's where I want you to be, make sure that you spread the word. Tell people. I'll give you another example on why Snoopy is so good for this podcast. She doesn't even know the name of the podcast.
Oh, I know the name now.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What is it?
Coming home with John Allen.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And where do people find me online?
On YouTube.
And what's my website? See, this is the perfect advertisement for my podcast here. Go to johnallenpod.com. johnallenpod.com.
Yeah, or do like I do. Just use the link you send me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, but that's all part of what I'm saying, people. Spread the word, share the links, share these episodes. We're just going to have fun. I'm going to flirt with Snoopy and stuff. We're not going to talk about anything too serious today, but you guys know that my content is inspirational, motivational. I'm talking with people who I want to learn something from. I'm talking with people who I do learn things from. So that is the whole purpose of what I'm doing. But today, we're just going to have fun.
So you're not learning anything from me? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Really?
No.
Well,
tell me what I can.
Years.
Yeah, how many? Yeah, see?
Yeah, well.
No, our anniversary is coming up on the 27th. That's what, Thursday?
Yeah. And I remember it this year.
And you remembered it this year, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Usually everybody, it's me remembering all the important things, but Snoopy is on board this year. And she actually arranged a date. What are we going to do on our...
We're going to go out to the restaurant.
You know, and we don't get to do that often enough. One is that I'm always so doggone tired, I never want to go anywhere. But part of it also is, work schedule, kids, and other things kind of get in the way. But as a couple, you always have to remember to... just like you double checked your oil in your car, you'd make sure your tires are on and nuts and bolts are together. You've got to do that for your marriage or your relationship as well. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. And this year, well, now our kids are old, not old, older.
They've got to be at
older.
least 8.
Yeah, well, they can be home a few hours by themselves, and we just pay them off with some pizza.
Yeah, our kids are 14 and 16, and that's more than old enough to be without us for a few hours. See, now you had me close that door, and now I'm starting to sweat.
Well, do you see what I'm wearing? I have my coffee cup warm in my hands. I have
you are supposed to be a Viking. This shouldn't be cold to you.
Telling you, we should move to Hawaii.
If you can pronounce it properly, then we'll move there.
Mm-hmm. We'll probably be living outside, though. Well, that's okay, because it's warm there.
The problem with Hawaii is it's so doggone expensive.
It is. That's why we're living outside.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So we'd be homeless in Hawaii.
No.
Oh, if you want to be homeless,
where I lay my
Hawaii
head is where my home is.
That's a Metallica song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
You didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. No, but Hawaii is actually past California for the number of homeless people, percentage-wise, according to the population.
If I was going to be homeless, that's...
Yeah, I was kind of joking, but it's kind of a serious thing. If you're going to be homeless, go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You're at least not going to freeze to death.
Scrape enough money for a plane ticket there or boat ride or whatever.
Well, that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're spending a little time in California or, along the Pacific coast, Oregon, Washington, doing what they can to get money and then finding their way to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You would kind of think that if they're that industrious where they can actually raise the money to move to Hawaii to be homeless, that maybe they should...
You know what? I watched a very interesting program last night or something. It was about this Italian woman, very intelligent. She aced everything at the university.
Yeah.
But then she just didn't like going to school.
Yeah.
So she just started living on the street. And long story short, she got pregnant. Her parents were, of course, scared to death because she was living on the street. So they They managed to give her money so that she could, and then she bought herself old farm way into the woods in Sweden.
Okay.
No electricity. I think she has phone connection there.
Yep.
And she's living there with her son. And a couple of times a month she goes out. One time is for diving into containers to gather food that the
Dumpster
stores.
diving. They call
Dumpster
it.
diving.
Yeah.
That's right. And then one time is to sing and play her little ukulele and raise money. And she lives off of 3,000 kroners. What is that?
About $270.
Yeah, a month. That's all she needs.
Yeah.
I think that was fascinating.
Well, it can be done. And you think about how many times, before we had our kids, we were talking about just dropping everything and go to our place up at
North.
up north.
Yeah.
And live off of potatoes, fish, and love.
Yeah.
The three vital nutrients for all humans: potatoes, fish, and love.
Yeah, that would have worked.
It can be done.
It could be done. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, people did that before. Why not now?
Well, why not now?
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, it could be done.
Talking about the homeless situation, I've had a LinkedIn account for quite some time, but now I'm actually building up my LinkedIn account since I got. It's a long story. I'm going to do an episode about what happened.
What is your
with
name
Facebook
on
and Instagram?
LinkedIn?
The same name. LinkedIn isn't. You just go by your name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I came across a gentleman. He was doing a TED Talk in Akron, of all places.
Talking with Ted?
You know what TED Talk is, right?
Yeah, now I know.
He was he was doing a TED Talk, and he was
Just messing
talking.
with you.
He was talking about how he had a word for it. I don't want to say useful homeless. The useful homeless or the
Useful homeless.
yeah, and he had a phrase for them. In other words, that there's a lot of people who are homeless, and they're not like they're not a drug addict. They're not mentally impaired. They're quite talented and intelligent people who fell upon hard times, and they're homeless. So this guy has a program. I can't believe I cannot remember that phrase he used for them. But anyway, some phrase to make you understand that homeless people are not useless. And he has a program now where homeless shelters recommend which homeless people would be good candidates for this program. Because it's the homeless shelters themselves who know who's a drug addict, who needs mental health care, and who is just a person who fell on hard times, but they've got a lot of skills. Mm-hmm. So they recommend these people to this guy's program, and they put them through. It's almost like a junior college, a university type of thing, where they can work on their skills, expand them, and not go out and find a job. Go out and start a business.
Right.
And I just think that's beautiful.
Interesting.
So I found that guy on LinkedIn. He was giving a TED Talk in Akron, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be a guest on my podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
That is exactly the kind of content that I like to put out. That's exactly the kind of people that I like to come in contact with. That guy could teach me a lot.
Oh, I bet he could teach a lot of people a lot.
He can teach a lot of people a lot, and those are the kind of people I want to give a voice. I want them on this microphone so that's the kind of content that can get out there. So it's coming, people, that conversation. I can't remember the guy's name. Can't remember the name of his organization. I can't remember that wonderful phrase that he used for these homeless people, but I'm going to put it all together and reach out to that guy probably today and see if he'd be willing to come on.
Yeah, sounds good.
And I just thought it was cool that it was in Akron, my old city where I was born.
Yep.
And that old city that I was very glad that my parents moved away from, too.
Yeah.
Sorry, Akron, but you're kind of junky right now. No, so what are we going to talk about? You've been begging me for days to come on my show. Well, here you are now. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, yeah, I have, haven't I? Well, We already did. Have been doing some talking now, haven't we? I'm not saying that that's all we're going to talk about. No, you know what? I was thinking, and when was that? The other day I went to Oslo to meet with a friend, and I just realized, wow, I'm not wearing face mask on the train.
Yeah, how about that?
I'm not wearing a face mask when I go into the stores.
Yeah.
I could give her a hug.
Yeah.
How about that? I'm not wearing face mask at work.
But are you still careful though? Is it still some leftovers
of course.
from, you know?
Yeah. I think she's the only one I hugged since.
Well, you're not a hugger anyway.
I kind of like that. When the corona was, nope, keep your distance. 3 meters, 6 meters, preferably.
10 meters.
10 minutes would be the best. And no, so that I'm sticking with that. I think, yeah, yeah. I just keep the distance. Don't need. Well, a handshake, I guess, is okay if I have my.
But you carry the cleaning alcohol all the time.
Yeah, I do that.
Of course, you use it. You know,
of course, but you know, it is airborne, so it doesn't. Yeah, so.
You know, I guess, you know, here we are, we're talking about, you know, the pandemic, but I don't think about it. And I guess I never really did, even when it was going on. You know, when people,
you did think about it.
Not really, not deeply. I wasn't
we
worried.
Talked about it.
Yeah, but I never worried about it. I wasn't scared and all that stuff. And
I did that job.
And I never, yeah, you did. And I never tested positive. I wonder if I did have it, even though I tested negative, but I never tested positive.
No, but this when I got it, you
like right after you got it, I started feeling a little bit under and not a little bit under, but very tired, very much out of it. So who knows? Maybe I did have it.
Yeah, but
I guess for the
you just did the home test.
So. But thinking about what I do, you know, with you know, music and songwriting and the podcast and things like that, I was pretty much unaffected by the pandemic. In fact, it was easier to get guests for the podcast because everybody was at home. Yeah. And all of these busy professionals and these busy, fairly well-known people had less to do, so they had more time with me. So it was kind of a boost to my self-confidence. Actually, seriously, it was.
Well, you know what they say: nothing is so bad that it's not good for something. Or something like that. That's what we say.
That's what they say.
Ikke noe så godt for at ille at ikke det godt for noe.
What? Do you realize now that 45% of my audience has no clue what you said?
That's why you're here. You're going to translate.
She said that my husband is as fine as wine.
My gosh.
And she takes her coffee the same way she takes her husband, strong and black, with a touch of sugar.
Amen.
I even got an amen out of her. How about that, people? You've been hanging around me too much.
Too much? No. It's not too much.
No, it's not too much.
Yeah. I went away for a week.
Hey, took a vacation.
Oh, my goodness.
But isn't that good?
That is good. It was very good.
I needed
that.
You got to go out and charge your batteries, get some sun, some relaxation.
Well,
you got to miss me, too, which I kind of like.
Yeah, you like that,
I like that, yeah. You know?
No, I had to go. If not, oh my gosh, that corona just took the energy, sucked it right out.
But you go, but even regardless of corona, every year around this time of the year, you always start talking a lot about going to these godforsaken places where you want to go and get your sunlight and all. But that's a very Norwegian thing.
Well, you know,
you guys want.
I would love to be able to do that in the middle of the winter when it's cold and not so much sun. Yeah. And all that. But, you know, of course I can't. I'm working. But now the kids are getting older, and so it's going to be easier. And, you know, I can work maybe some extra, whatever. But that is, I don't know, maybe it is a kind of a Scandinavian thing anyway. You know, we need that sun.
Well, it's definitely very much a Norwegian thing. But I think what's interesting is, and I read on this as well, it is actually in these months, you know, April and May are the months where people in the Nordic countries are most depressed and they have the lowest vitamin D. Now let's talk about that. You would think, it's springtime, the sun is out, the birds are chirping, that you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, this is when people feel the worst because they've gone, X number of months, from October until now with very low sunlight, especially if you're even further north in Norway than we are. Very, very little sunlight, which gives them very little vitamin D, which brings upon that depression or that sinking emotional and mental state. Yeah, that tiredness. Yeah. And it's actually in the months of April and May that people from the Nordic countries are the most depressed and commit the most suicides.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading up on that. Isn't that something?
Yeah. And this is also actually the time when there's quite a few people with oh gosh, my brain just stopped. Whatever. Well, I'll get back to it.
How many times a day does that happen?
I don't know.
I do. You want me to tell you? I got some bad news for you.
I don't think so.
No, what were you going to say, though?
No.
You were on to something interesting.
I was on to something very interesting. Yeah, when I used to work in acute psychiatry units, a lot of those people who was bipolar, they came in the spring.
Yes. Again, right back to what I was saying. Yeah. These are the months where they are totally depleted for vitamin D and just that so many months of darkness. And so now it doesn't bother me at all. No. I love the wintertime in Norway, especially when we were living up in Finnmark and stuff. Yeah, oh my gosh, it was magic.
You can never find that light, I think.
There's nothing
anywhere.
Like it.
Yeah,
there's nothing like it.
Absolutely gorgeous.
But it never bothers me, but I fully recognize and understand that it does bother a lot of people in these months. I want to say this to everybody who's watching or listening. Keep an eye on your friends. That's something that we can talk about. What?
I just want to say one thing, though, because what you're saying about people in the Nordic countries are kind of low on energy and all that. And this is something I knew when I was very little.
Yes.
Do you know how?
Your dad.
Yes. He said, det er vårslapp. Det er bare vårslapphet. And you just a spring tiredness. Yeah. And that was a word. That was something that everybody knew. Yeah. Of course you knew that. Yeah. Yeah. So you're tired and depressed and all that? Yeah. That's just because it's spring.
But the thing is with a little bit of awareness, you can you can fix that.
Yeah.
Vitamin D supplements.
Wait, I wouldn't say you can just fix it because there could be other causes.
No, but you can work against. You can do something to lighten the load.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is what I was going to say is people should watch their friends. Make sure you keep that contact with your friends. And I think this is something that mostly happens among men. Men just don't want to talk about what's going on in here or in here, in the heart and in the mind. They get depressed or upset about something, or they're having problems with self-esteem and whatnot, and they don't say a word. But I think what's even worse is people see that this guy or this person, woman, whoever, is struggling with something. But Norwegian society, Norwegian culture says, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Don't ask. He needs his space. She needs her space.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that depression that people see in I read another study that Norwegian kids, teenagers, and young adults are the most depressed in Europe, which could be that whole thing with, so many months of darkness and whatnot. But again, I think that a dialogue around that issue is missing. You have your specialists. You have some doctors, some people who are out there studying these kind of things. You have psychologists and psychologists who will talk about it. But you don't hear a lot of I don't hear any talk about that among the regular people in the street.
Well, if you, I don't know if I totally agree with that, because if you open a
magazine, who do you hear talking about it?
No, if you open magazines well, I guess you don't open magazines anymore, but on the
I was just
whatever
gonna
social
say.
media
Yeah,
and all
but-
that. No, what does it say? These famous people that's coming out and saying they have this, that, or the other problem, depression, or they try to commit a suicide, and it's like that is a little in to say, and
Yeah, but how many people
Yeah.
take that for the good information that it is, and
A
then
lot of
and
people
then
do
and
that.
then activate themselves based on that information and actually pay attention to their friends or open a dialogue with someone? I don't think people are doing that. You said it yourself. Not that many people are reading these magazines, these publications where learned people, experts, are actually talking about the phenomenon of depression and spring, the spring depression and things like that. Very few people are reading that stuff, and if they're reading it, where is the dialogue about it among the regular people? Who's talking about that kind of stuff around the dinner table? Nobody.
no, we do.
Well, we are who we are. You have the line of work
Yeah.
that you're in, and I have the type of podcast that I have, and we're raising our children the way we're raising our children. So yes, you and I talk about that. But I don't
Yeah,
think
well,
there's.
I don't
I
know.
think there needs to be a greater dialogue about that.
Yeah, but then I think that you said that I said that people don't read in the magazine. What I meant by that, there's hardly any magazines left because everything goes online. But what my
Exactly.
point is that it comes online too.
Yeah, exactly. But very few people are online to learn something. Most people are
Yeah,
on
they
there for the
just
entertainment
scroll.
value, and
Yeah.
they're addicted. So all they're doing is scrolling, and they're not really taking in any good information that may be on that feed.
Well,
they're
and then
they're
they
missing
don't
it.
check the source, I guess, too. So
That is a big problem. People don't check the source. So then you got to wonder: is the information that they're getting, is it legitimate? Because it's unsourced.
But at school, the kids are learning about these things now. That is into the curriculum
Yeah.
to learn about mental health, which is great.
Yeah.
And it is also, and now they, it turns out that after the pandemic, the pandemic is still going on,
Yeah.
but it's not affecting Norway as much anymore
Right.
because,
As far as we know,
99% is...
As far as we know, because a lot of people are, I just saw this on CNN just the other day. A lot of people, not just in the States, but they're thinking everywhere, are actually getting it, but they're symptom free. They're catching it with their home test, and they're not
Yeah, that's
they're
what
not
I
getting
mean.
an official
They're not
test.
dying.
They're not there's no way of reporting all of these cases
No, yeah, but because
because they're not reporting
high-
it. They're
yeah,
just going.
but
They're just
there's
going by a home
high
test.
percentage in Norway has been vaccinated.
Yeah.
We have a few people who have their
I used to see them on Facebook. I don't anymore
Ideas.
because I'm blocked from Facebook.
Facebook jail.
No, I'm in Facebook death row. Okay, there's Facebook jail and then there's Facebook death
death-
row, and you know that a black
know.
man on death row, his chances
never-
aren't good.
he never
So
gets out.
We've talked about that
Oh, yeah.
before. So
Yeah. Sorry, you doomed. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, so there's higher. There's a lot of kids now with coming out with eating disorders.
yes,
It's like an explosion, and it's a lot. And I know they are of course talking about why is that? Is it because of the pandemic, or is it because of the pandemic now it shows more? Is it the social anxiety that is actually kicking in? Was it better because during the pandemic it was more small? They had their little routine at home.
Yeah.
And they the kids manage a lot better.
Yeah.
And now they have to deal with the school, with friends, and
all because
and,
of the pandemic.
and-
It's
and
shaking
then
up their
it's just-
routine.
Right. So that's interesting.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know. I think that there is a bigger mental health issue because of the pandemic. A lot of things that I think were kind of under the surface came to the surface because of the shakeup of the entire system, from the work environment all the way through the school environment and into the family environment.
But then not only that, but now when you talk about kids and teenagers, how social are they really? You know, where's the capability
They weren't social.
of being?
They weren't social before,
Right.
the way they should
and
be.
now
And
they,
now,
you know,
everything-
humans need social skills.
but the kids, all they need is this thing.
No, but they don't need it
So
for
they
their
say.
head.
Yeah, but so they say.
So they say,
you know.
but that's just not good. I think
For
my
those who are
phone
not
is,
watching, I'm holding up my telephone, my cell phone. Kids, they're on that little screen there. That's their entire life. So think about it, when the pandemic comes around and they're not in school for a large chunk of the school year, so at least at school they could talk a little bit face to face with somebody.
Or at least sit next to them and talk through the phone.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden they're getting their schooling from home, and they still have this cell phone.
Yeah.
So now they're even more dependent on this thing for communication.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many kids, teenagers, that don't even know how to have a proper telephone call.
Oh, yeah. Or going, what happened to running over to your friend and knocking on the door?
Yeah.
I don't think that exists anymore.
Now everything's a text. It's not even a telephone call.
Yeah.
It's just a text.
Yeah.
So I think so much of that interpersonal communication is just gone. I think about all the time when we were living up north, and these younger people would call me, and you would think that the first thing out of their mouth is, "Yeah, hi, John. My name is so and so, and here's why I'm calling."
Yeah.
You know what they would say? "Korue."
Yeah.
Korue.
Where are you?
Yeah, where are you? That would be the introduction to this person calling me on the telephone, and it's like, what is that?
That's just strange. We had when I grew up,
Korue.
we had actually at school, we had a class where we were learning how to speak on the phone.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
introduce yourself, you be polite and all that, and also we did this thing where we went shopping for a teacher. She gave us a grocery list, and you take it with her. You know, back then we didn't have to pay. She went once a week, once a month, or whatever, and paid her bill. And it was a different way of teaching, learning.
Yeah.
So,
We did that too. We had a home economics class, and whenever we were going to make, let's say we were going to bake a pie or something, and then we would go out to the store as a group, and one or two people would be designated to be the ones who would actually buy the stuff, talk to the cashier when you paid, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we got graded on that. The teacher would
Really?
be with us, and we learned how to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we didn't get grades. They don't believe in stuff like
Oh,
that
yeah,
in
that's
Norway.
right. Heia Norge.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. We sound like a couple of old farts. or
yeah,
something,
I guess we
but,
do. Yeah,
I don't think we are that, but we just have our.
but when you think about it, it's very hard to live without a smartphone in Norway. You have the bank thing. If you're gonna go to the store, you actually use your phone instead of a credit card very often to pay with.
And it's a good tool. There's nothing wrong with all that stuff being in a cell phone. You know, I use mine for, contact with people. I use that for putting my brand out there so that people know.
Before you were in Facebook jail.
So that no, I'm on Facebook death row. Let's get it right. And like I said, a black man on death row ain't got very many chances. No, but it's okay to have all this stuff on the phone. But it's when we become dependent on that phone, or when that phone replaces regular social contact. That's when it becomes an issue. And unfortunately, that's happening to a lot of kids. And you have weak parents who choose not to confront their kids about that, or have any rules around how they use this telephone.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. I said it. Weak parents.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not going to say that but yeah.
I think that's weak parenting. There's so many, come on now, you see it in the work that you do, and I've seen it in the work that I do, that there's a lot of weak parents out there. They've got their baggage, and that baggage trumps their, did I say Trump? Trumps their, that baggage that they have trumps their focus on proper parenting.
Well, there's and
they choose to avoid certain confrontations that need to be made in the raising of that child. and that's weak parenting.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a lot.
I'm not
of
saying
ways.
weak. I'm not saying weak with any kind of contempt or anything. You know, I'm not mad at them because they're weak, but they are weak, and that should be acknowledged.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of opinions. There's not a book. You don't get a
Of course.
Kids doesn't come with how to raise me.
But should a 12-year-old have one of these cell phones and just have unlimited use and not be monitored in any way by parents at 12 years old?
Well, some kids might be able to do that because they have gotten the proper teaching on how to use it throughout the years.
But then that parent has done proper parenting. They've guided their child to where as a 12-year-old they can be responsible. They don't need to tell them to put it down because they put it down. Exactly.
And I talk with parents who don't have any rules. You have to put your phones down or don't play, be on the computer after so many hours or whatever. Mm. Because, the kids sit there and they play their games, and then after an hour or whatever, or 20 minutes, they're done. They do something else.
I want to see one of these fantasy kids that you're talking about that can stop themselves after only an hour of playing some kind of online or
because
game.
They haven't. The theory then is that because they haven't been limited, it's not as exciting. It's not as something that they. It's when something is not allowed for a kid or teenager, it's more exciting. It's more you want to push them limits and test out the water, so to speak. See how far you can push your parents. That's one way of looking at it. But it's also, I'm just saying, kids are different.
Kids are different. Yeah, there's no monolith here. I'm not
just checking.
What were you looking at?
So there's not a fire up there. I just saw something up there, and I was like, oh my gosh.
No, I'm not saying that all children or all parents are a monolith. They all have their own individual ways, their own individual observations, and yes, I acknowledge that. And I say to you that if there's a 12-year-old who can handle gaming or handle a telephone properly and not be swallowed up by those things, they didn't do that on their own. They did it because they had good guidance from their parents. They did.
Okay. I hear you.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I know you hear me.
No.
Testing, 1, 2, hear me? No, I know you hear me, but am I right or wrong?
In a way, you're right, but I.
So tell me how I'm wrong then.
No. It's just that proper parenting doesn't always have to be by limitation.
I never said that. I never said that.
No, but I think you imply that.
Where did I imply that proper parenting has to do with limitations?
Because I can read your mind.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
What are you, a witch? Is that what I married?
What?
Only a witch can read minds. That's sorcery, witchcraft. How can you read my mind?
No, that's telepathic.
Which, in the Middle Ages here in Norway, they called witchcraft.
Yeah, but we're not in the Middle Ages.
You guys burned a few people for witchcraft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, especially up north.
Oh, yeah, especially up north.
Yeah, Vardø. Yeah.
No, what was I saying?
Oh, yeah. What, you're implying that I shouldn't go up north or something? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know where you got that from.
Okay.
I don't know where you got that from. No, all I'm saying.
Me a witch.
All I'm saying. Well, you're the one that said you could read my mind. That's not normal to read somebody's mind.
Of course it is. We've been married for so long. How long have we been married?
Yeah, but you can't read my mind just because. Of course
I can. I can just look at you and I know exactly.
What am I thinking now? Am I thinking about boobs or butt?
Crazy.
Come on, which one is it? Read my mind. Am I thinking about boobs or butt?
Probably both.
Oh, okay, so she can read my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see? Uh-huh.
That's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Wow, we've been talking for 34 minutes and 33 seconds, 35, 36. I want to say I want to say that this was fun, Snoopy. Yeah. You haven't been on my show in
a long time.
Couple 3 months, I want to say. Early winter.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I have been on your show after you got this new office studio.
You haven't actually. No,
I don't think so.
No. So this is the first time since September, October.
Yeah.
So
before
welcome back.
Our TV debut, or mine.
You should come on more often because you're popular. People think you're crazy, and all that stuff. And they have a lot of fun. I get a lot of feedback saying that they like it when you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, then I need to just step back a little so that they don't get tired of me, maybe.
You want to be missed. You want them to miss you a little bit.
Of course. Who wouldn't?
I want to put a call to action for everybody who's watching or listening. Remember, johnallenpod.com. That's my website. I don't have anything special going on at the moment. Who knows what I have capacity for? But just keep checking in there. You're not going to find me on Facebook because I'm in...
On death row.
Facebook death row, above and beyond Facebook prison, Facebook jail. I'm on Facebook death row. So you have to go to my website, johnallenpod.com, if you want to have any updates on what's going on. Like I said, there's nothing special going on right now. It's just the podcast running as usual. I don't want to say too much about what's coming up. I do have some exciting guests lined up. I've still got a few episodes in the vault that I have to release. So just keep checking. It's a weekly thing, y'all.
All right. Sounds good.
Say bye, Snoopy.
Bye, Snoopy. Oh, no, bye.
I can't believe you did that. Is it that easy? Is it that easy? See, that's why they want you to come on. That's why they want you on my show. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.